In the heart of Detroit City, under the shadow of decaying industrial buildings, the Johnson family moved into their new home on Elm Street, a house with a history too dark to be whispered about in daylight. The air was thick with the musty scent of old wood and secrets as Jake Johnson, a tall, protective father, led his family, Molly, his skeptical wife, and their two children, Emma and Ethan, into the creaky mansion. The floorboards groaned underfoot, and the wallpaper, peeling at the edges, seemed to whisper stories of the past. As they stepped inside, a chill ran through them, not just from the cold air, but from an unseen presence that seemed to watch their every move, the scent of decay lingering in the air. The first night was eerie. The wind howled through the gaps in the windows, sounding like whispers of the past, carrying a faint scent of lavender mixed with something darker. Emma felt a cold touch on her shoulder while unpacking, her skin prickling with goosebumps. But when she turned, there was nothing. Ethan, younger and more sensitive, heard giggles from the empty corridors, his heart racing with each sound, the air around him feeling heavier, almost suffocating. Molly dismissed their fears, attributing them to the unfamiliarity of the place, while Jake installed new locks, the metallic click echoing ominously in the silence. The next morning, Emma was in the bathroom, the mirror fogged from her shower, the steam carrying a scent of mildew. As she wiped it clean, she saw a figure behind her, a man in a suit with a white mask, his silhouette chillingly clear before vanishing. Shaking, she rushed out, the cold tiles beneath her feet sending shivers up her spine. Molly and Jake were dismissive. "Emma, it's just your imagination," Molly said with a roll of her eyes, her voice echoing in the vast empty house. Ethan, however, believed her, his eyes wide with fear. That night, Emma found the words, "Death to all," written in condensation on the mirror, her scream piercing the oppressive silence. Determined to prove she wasn't crazy, Emma and Ethan explored the basement, the air growing colder with each step, the smell of damp earth and mold intensifying. They found old newspaper clippings about a man named David who had lived in the house and vanished mysteriously. The articles spoke of a curse, a pact with darkness, the paper brittle under their touch. A sudden noise made them jump, a sound like something heavy being dragged, but nothing was there, only the oppressive silence that followed, the darkness seeming to press against their skin. One evening, Emma noticed a strange mark on her arm, like a burn, but in the shape of an old symbol, the skin around it feeling icy cold. She showed it to her family, but it had vanished by the time they looked, leaving only a faint scent of burnt flesh. Jake's patience was tested as he tried to rationalize everything, while Molly's skepticism turned into a silent dread, her breath catching in her throat. Ethan, however, began drawing the symbol obsessively, claiming he saw it in his dreams, the pencil scratching against paper, filling the quiet house with tension. One night, Ethan went missing. The house seemed to grow larger, the corridors longer, the walls closing in with a sense of foreboding. The family searched frantically, the only sound their panicked breaths and the creak of the old floorboards. Molly found his favorite toy in a room they hadn't noticed before, its door ajar, the room cold and untouched for years, the toy emitting a faint, unsettling glow. Emma, in her desperation, felt a presence guiding her, a cold draft leading her to the attic where she found Ethan, pale and unresponsive, sitting in front of an old portrait of David, his eyes vacant, the air around him thick with a scent of death. The family decided to confront the entity. They set up in the living room where the air was thickest with the house's malevolence, the scent of old books and dust heavy in the air. Jake, holding a cross, Molly with a Bible, and Emma with a flashlight, they called out to David. The lights flickered, casting long shadows, and the temperature dropped, their breaths visible. From the shadows, David's figure emerged, his mask now stained, his voice a whisper of death.